Hi guys, and welcome to Brado Software Development. This is part B of my IR35 little mini-series. In part A, we talked about the general summary of what IR35 is, basically who's going to get caught out by in April and what to watch out for. So I did say in the last video that I was going to release the next part in a couple of days, but it didn't happen because I had other commitments that I had to follow. Unfortunately, I'm a little bit late on that. But hopefully this CEST example will be very fruitful and you'll get a lot from it, and hopefully you'll figure out a way of answering the questions yourself honestly and realistically. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video. So before I get into my CEST example application, I just want to show you something called IPSE. So if I switch over to my monitor, as you can see, I'm on the IPSE website, and IPSE is essentially an extra insurance for contractors. So it just gives you peace of mind when you're signing new contracts or when you're working under the threat of IR35 during the workplace. They've got loads of cool benefits. So they do contract reviews. They've got a massive library of documentation, FAQs, and community forums. They've got loads of partner offers. So they give you something called Perkbox. If nobody knows what Perkbox is, you essentially get 10-15% off all retail in the form of vouchers. So you pay £45 for a voucher, and the voucher gives you 60 quid or whatever. So that's really cool. It kind of pays for itself after the first month of use, depending on how much you buy in retail. And as it's locked down, you're probably not going out a lot, but you're probably doing a lot more online shopping, and you need to not spend as much on Amazon and try and get it cheaper elsewhere from the proper retailers. And you also get IPSE rewards, and there's an IPSE marketplace as well. I haven't really looked too much into those, so I can't really tell you about them, but if it's anything like the rest of IPSE, then it's pretty cool. IPSE only costs about £30 a month. If you're a business owner and you're a contractor, you're probably paying anywhere between £30 and £80 for business insurance anyway. So this is just an extra. This is just an extra assurance that if you do get caught out for IR35, then they're going to protect you and they're going to fight your legal battles, and they're going to give you, any tax rebates and things like that if you require it, depending on the level of cover that you get. So they're not a sponsor at all, but I am going to put the affiliate code in the description. So if you do want this, I highly recommend it. And if you do use my affiliate code, I get a voucher and you also get a voucher if you sign up for at least 1 month. So it helps us both out. It helps me out with the channel. It helps you out with some extra money, and it also helps you out with the contractor world, because you can work and feel protected, especially after April. So I guess one of the questions you may or may not be thinking right now is, how do you know if you are inside or outside IR35? Well, there's a really cool government-owned tool that I suggest you look at in private browsing mode. Do not look at it logged into anything, because if you do this and then they deem you inside, they're going to put your name on a little list somewhere, and then they're going to come after you. Guarantee it. So make sure you look on this in a little private window, just so they can't track your user account to your assessment. So what you can do, I've actually done this and I'm completely outside IR35 for my current contract. So it's called a CEST tool. Sounds a bit odd, CEST. Ancestral incest, I don't know, it sounds a bit weird, but what it stands for is check employment status for tax. So what this will do is, if you scroll down to the page, I can put the link in my description below, so you can go to it and check it out for yourself. If you click on start now, they ask you a few questions, and it's basically a massive questionnaire, and they take into account whether you're a worker, a supplier, or a client, how big the company is, whether or not you provide your own equipment, whether or not you pay for expenses up front. Another big thing with being a consultant is you should be able to send your own substitute. You don't have to, because to be honest, if somebody's employing me as a consultant, I'm not going to send my brother in to do the job that I've been paid to do, right? So that's not an IR35 thing, although that in combination with other things could be. So if I click on this, if the payroll working rules apply to a contract, which is what I want to do, I'll click continue, and then it says, who are you? So I've got worker, hirer, or agency. Obviously I'm a worker. Continue. And then we can check an existing determination, or we can make a new determination. I would always select to make a new determination, because then if you are accidentally logged in, if the government are tracking your cookies or account information or something like that. So let's continue. Do you provide your services for a limited company, partnership, incorporated, or association? So yes, I'm going to put yes for this, because I provide for a limited company. Have you already started working for this client? Always click no. Okay, so will you be an office holder? I would normally pick yes, because you're a company director. However, because you're a consultant under the umbrella of your company, even though you're a director, 100% shareholder, you you're technically classed as a consultant when you're doing this kind of work, so I'll click no probably. I think if you click yes, it does actually give you IR35 status, which is wrong. Does your client have the right to reject a substitute? Yes. So if they employ me to do a job, I cannot provide a substitute because they're paying me. They're paying me as a consultant through a limited company. They're not paying for my brother, who's a plumber, who has no knowledge of computers. So yes. Does your client have the right to move you from the task you originally agreed to do? No, no, I would have to agree actually. No, yeah, because if it says in my contract that I'm going to be a software developer or a team lead or a quality assurance engineer or something like that, then I would have to agree in order for them to change me. They can't just be like, oh yeah, you're going to move over to this now because I've been employed to do a job. So that would be no, you would have to agree. Does your client have the right to decide how the work is done? I would probably say that you and your client agree together, because if they're employing you as a consultant, then they might want things done a certain way, but then you're there as a consultant to tell them one way or the other whether or not that's the right thing to do. So it's kind of like a mutual relationship. So I click no, you and your client agree together. Does your client have the right to decide your working hours? You have to agree. So one of the biggest things about being a disguised employee is that you have a 40-hour work week and you work 9 till 5. That basically means you can't choose your own hours, which basically means, are you really a supplier? The only caveat to this is, at the minute in my contract, I am a development consultant essentially, but I am helping train up the developers from the company that I'm working for. So I have to work within the hours that their staff work. So even though I have the ability to do overtime, not that I'll get paid for it, but I can do overtime if the project is falling behind a little bit. But most of my hours do have to coincide within the client's operating hours. So they have a 9 a.m. stand up and they have a 4 p.m. end of day call. So I'd probably say you and the client have to agree that your hours will be flexible. Does your client have the right to decide where you do the work? In my contract at the minute, because of the pandemic, I don't have to go into an office, although they have said when we come out of the pandemic I may be required to go to Manchester 1 day a month. Obviously that's not set in stone. I can say no, I'm not coming for any particular reason, but I do think the task sets a location, because when we eventually start going back into offices and say they need a meeting as a team meeting 1 day a week, 1 day a month or something like that, then it will entirely depend on the tasks that we need to do. That will depend on the location, so I'll click that option. Will you have to buy equipment before the client pays you? Absolutely yes. Always click yes to this, because the client should not be providing you a laptop. And there are caveats to this. Like say say you have a security clearance and you require a specific laptop in order to do your job because it has like all kinds of like software on it to stop people from spying on you and to make sure it's all secure. It might have a VPN, it might even use Citrix or something like that. Then yes, you will be provided a laptop because of security reasons. That is just completely standard. They will also probably pay for the services that you use on that laptop. That's not, but you can't avoid that. If you're a security consultant and it's a government or MI5 or something like that, then you will have to pay. Then you will have to be provided equipment. You cannot bring your own equipment to that job. Obviously, there are exceptions to the rule, and you may be able to have your own MacBook or something like that, but it depends. For my current contract, yes, I will have to pay everything up front. That includes software, any services like VPNs, my laptop, power, recording equipment, whatever. Yes, I have to provide that. Will you have to fund any vehicle costs before the client pays you? Absolutely yes. I'll have to pay for all of my car, my MOT, and my yearly tax and my insurance and my petrol. I'll have to pay for all that. And then the client may decide to reimburse me for that petrol. That depends on the contract. But as far as I know in my contract, I don't think it says that they can reimburse me. Will you have to buy materials before your client pays you? Bit weird because it's an IT job, so there isn't really many materials, although this is exactly the same as the previous one, which would be yes, because I will have to pay for materials. Will you have to fund any other costs before your client pays you? Absolutely yes. You'll have to pay for, so in my last contract, I had to pay for all of my travel, and I had to pay for all of my accommodation, and I had to pay for all of my food and stuff as well. Yeah, so continue. I had to pay for everything, and then they reimbursed me the hotel costs and the travel, and that was it. So yeah, I had to pay for that up front. How will you be paid for this work? So most contracts in the IT industry anyway are normally like a daily rate. So you work on a day basis, and it could be anywhere between 7 and 10 hours or 6 and 12 hours. Basically, they'll give you an hours, and the thing is about contracting and being a disguised employee is you can't have set hours. So you can't say I'm going to work exactly 40 hours this week. You have to charge a day. So it's anywhere between like 6 and 10. So some days I might work 10, sometimes I might work 6, but I still charge the same day rate. That's just the way it goes. There may be a project where it runs behind and I have to play catch up, or there may be a time when the deadline is way ahead in the future, and I can just sit back and relax and get paid for it. I never do that, by the way. So click continue for that. If the client was not happy with your work, would you have to put it right? Of course, yes. If the client's not happy with my work and I've done a shit job, excuse my French, then yes, I would have to pay. I would have to use my own time to put it right. That's the standard. Will your client provide you with paid for corporate benefits? Absolutely not. You cannot take gym memberships, health insurance, retail discounts. If you do that, that is a clear IR35 violation, and you should be paying your full tax, personally. You should be paying for you earn enough money to pay for your gym membership yourself. Will you have any management responsibilities for your client? This can include deciding how much to pay someone, hiring or dismissing workers, and delivering appraisals. So when I worked at Shell, we had a guy who was a project manager. He had the hiring and firing rights, but I do think he had to clear it with somebody else who worked at the company. So it wasn't like he was hiring and dismissing. He was actually getting approval for that. So I'm going to click no because it doesn't apply to me. How would you introduce yourself to your clients, consumers, or suppliers? You work for the client. You're an independent worker acting on your client's behalf. You work for So I would select this one personally, because it's a bit of an odd setup, but I work for a consultancy firm. So I'm a contractor for a consultancy firm. Then they have a client who we are working for. So it's almost like a proxy, but the consultancy firm is like a group of contractors who provide consultancy to a client. So you are an independent worker, essentially. You are an independent worker. So I wouldn't say I work for XYZ. I would say I am a contractor supplying my services for XYZ for you. So that's what I would say. Does this contract stop you from doing similar work for other clients? No. I am free to do whatever I want, i.e. make rubbish YouTube videos in the evening and waste my time getting absolutely no subscribers. Are you required to ask permission to work for other clients? No, I can do whatever I want. Outside of my hours, I can do whatever the hell I want, as long as there's not a conflict of interest. So sometimes in contracts you might have not an NDA. I've forgotten what it's called. I think it's called a non-compete agreement. If I worked for finance, I wouldn't be able to work for an opposing bank because there's a conflict of interest. Because what they're really, really worried about is learning something in one company, taking all of that code and that knowledge and then using it in another company. Obviously, if I work for one bank, then work for a second bank, then I can't transfer any code, but I can transfer the knowledge of something that I learned there. Obviously, I can't transfer the intellectual property of the place, but if there's like a certain skill that I learned, like say I was using Node at Bank A, and then I used Node at Bank B, obviously I can do that. And if I learned more Node at Bank A and I increased my skill set, then I could take that knowledge with me. But I cannot take the actual code itself. So yeah, that's a no. Definitely no. I can do whatever I want, but yeah, I can't take things with me. I can't take intellectual property with me. Are there any ownership rights relating to this contract? These types of rights are usually found in media, arts, creative industry contracts. I'd probably say yes. There's definitely intellectual property rights. They have the copyright for all of their logos, the way that they're designing their system. Yeah, they have everything. Does the contract state the rights to this work belong to your client? Yes. I wouldn't be able to buy anything from the contract. That's open shut case, that one. Have you had a previous contract with this client? No. So one thing that contractors like to do to break the disguised employee rule is, I said earlier, you could sign up for a 5-year contract. or not sign up, but you could sign up for a year, then do a second year and a third year and a fourth year and a fifth year. What people do to get around this is they sign up for 1 year or 3 to 6 months, then they extend it up until about a year and a half, maybe 2 years. Then they go and work somewhere else and they come back. I had someone who did this at my last contract actually. I'm not going to say his name, I'm not going to say where he came from, but he worked somewhere, came to us for about 6 months, or not us, but my client, the VMD, and then he went there for 6 months and then went back, and then it broke his chain. So you have to go somewhere for a minimum of 6 months and a maximum of 2 years, I think it is. But to be safe, a lot of people do like a year and a half or a year and 9 months just to be safe. I've never gone back to a previous client, not because I don't keep good relationships with the previous client, just because they've never offered me work. There's one place that offered me some more work, but I was already in a contract, so I couldn't take it. Although that definitely would have been a consultancy job, because it would have been fixed rate, not day rate. So no, I have not for this question. The next question is the current contract the first in a series of contracts agreed with this client? No, it's not. This contract is the only contract, and the thing about contracting is you live and die by the contract. If it says 3 months, then you do not assume to have an extension after that. You assume that extension will not come, and you will have to look for another job or another contract even. So yeah, that would be a no. They have not said to me that this will definitely be extended. They have hinted at that a possible extension may come, but I never assume there will be. So I'm going to click no. Does the current contract allow for it to be extended? Yes, it does. It does allow for it, but they've never explicitly said they're going to extend it. Will this work take up the majority of your available working time? Depends how many hours you work. 40 hours a week on a contract, roughly, give or take, the whole 6 to 10 hour rule. I would probably say no, because I do like 14 hours a day, not specifically at the contract I'm working at, but so I do data aggregation for clients every now and again, not often though. I might do the odd website here and there. I might do the odd database backups and restores for people. I make YouTube videos, even though I don't actually make any money from it. Remember to comment, like, and subscribe so I make some more money. Thank you. And yeah, I'll probably no, because it does depend on how many hours you work. My normal main contract. So, have you done any self-employed work of a similar nature for other clients in the last 12 months? This only refers to work requiring similar skills, responsibilities, knowledge, or ability. Self-employed work is when your responsibility to pay income tax and national insurance. Yes, that's a clear yes. I have done other work for other people. So. Drum roll, please. Drum roll, please. Confirm for the result. Here we go. There you go. You heard it here first. I am not IR35. Thank you very much. So, government, if you want to try and come after me, I'll show you what you can do with that. Government, you want to come after me? Here you go. Off payroll working rules. IR35 do not apply to me. That's how you do a determination. I think I answered the questions honestly. I am a little bit worried about putting this YouTube out there. I have to admit, because somebody could say, "Oh, you're IR35." I know that I'm not, but I don't care, because I've got a certificate to prove that I'm not. And I answered those questions legitimately, and I said exactly the circumstances in which I answered the questions. So I think I am a clear outside IR35. So yeah, that's my video. Thanks for watching. I really hope that if you are a contractor or self-employed, you don't get completely screwed over by this like everyone else did a couple of years ago. As you can tell, I'm really not happy with all of these things. I just think it's ridiculous, and every other contractor feels the same way. It's a bit of a misnomer. It's not necessarily about saving tax money. It's just about having the freedom to be self-employed and work for many different clients under one roof. If I had to go inside IR35, there's no point having my company. And then if I don't have my company, then I feel like there's no point making things like YouTube videos or working for other clients, because I don't make enough money from the other clients in order to pay for everything that a company needs, like VAT returns and like yearly tax returns and self-assessment returns and all of that stuff. It's just not worth it. There's no point in doing other work. But then what that does is it brings my yearly income down. That's all it does. So it doesn't. The government actually get less tax overall, because I'm earning less, therefore I pay less tax. So you know, it's not about tax at all. It's really not about tax. The government just want to screw over the contractor market, in my opinion. So thank you very much for watching my video. I've said it a few times, but please like, comment and subscribe, and share this video if you found it useful. This will help out a lot of contractors, I think, especially in the coming month and a half or so, until the rules become in law, basically. It's very scary for contractors at the minute because we've got the pandemic and now we've got the IR35 changes. So good luck out there, stay strong, and I'll catch you in the next video. Okay, see you later. Day radical, emphatic, beat addict in the stab hit. I envelope the game, call me rabbit. Hop to hop, I run the internet equivocally. Bitch, I be hit him with the bite style symmetry. Digi-G, digital gangsta reppin' till I'm dead. Steady grip Apache logs when I'm looking for the feds. Fast forward, now the internet anonymous and captains of the lows